We're live.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to, it's Monday night, and we are at Gruber's, and I'm going to show you how to make an attic window tonight, because there's a little cheating part of it. So there's usually a Y seam in your attic windows, and I'm going to show you how not to do that if you don't want to. So here's one right here. But let's show you how. This is one of our favorite panels that we had last year, and that's the panel up there. It's a beautiful flying witch, obviously. Kind of monotone. I mean, it's got orange and black, and that's about it. But it makes an awesome, awesome attic window, which is what you're going to see right here. So I'm going to teach you how to do that first, then we'll show you some other things that would make into really great attic windows. So the first thing you have to do is find your panel. So obviously I'll play with the witch one for a while, but I'll also show you some other ones. So I have a panel right here. So it's a small one. So you can make attic windows any size you want, right? So the first thing you do is you measure your panel only. You don't include the borders, because those you're going to cut away, because that's not going to be included in your window. I would never see this in a window. So I measure only the picture. So I start at the very beginning on 0, and I come to, I'm at basically 21. It's like, and I want you to work in measurements that are normal to you. So don't work in the 21.5 unless you like to do the math to figure out how many blocks you're going to get. So this is 21 inches going this way, and I'm guessing it's a little bit less going this way. It's only 19. So basically I'm dealing with 21 inches by 19 inches. So bring out your little calculator in this case, because I'm not dealing with 20 by 10, which would be really easy to do. So because this is small, I don't want to lose any of the picture. So I would take 21, divide it by, and then you have to figure out. So I'm hopefully going to get at least 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 panes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, either 4 to 5. 4 I think would work just fine. And I want to make sure that I don't cut my little puppy's head right down the middle here. So you would kind of just map it out. If you own a friction pan, it's really great at that point, because I would just take a friction pan and I would grit it before I cut it. And then I would come the other way, and if this one, and what did I say again, it was 19. So basically I would do the 19 divided by 4, probably 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'd probably have 4 of them going this way, so I'd probably be 5 by 4, so I would have 20 blocks. And it'd be, obviously this is going to be a miniature, so now I'm going to show you how to do it on blocks. But I would, you have to do your sash on your window, and then you have the long stem of the window, and then you have so there's 3 pieces that are going to go on my block. And I'll show you that right away. So this one's obviously going to be little, because on the witch one I did 2.5 inches, which is really super easy for you to figure out all the way around. This one would probably be like 1.5 inches going all the way around, because obviously my window is smaller, and I don't want to make this look really miniature outside of a window. So if that makes sense. So I'm going to show you first of all how to make the block, and then we can go on to, once again, how to put them all together. So we'll review this in a minute. So right now I just want to show you how to make the block. So I did basically the same thing with the witch. I measured from one end to the other, and then up and down, and I figured basically I had 20 blocks. So it was pretty much like 5 by 7 almost, right in there. And I cut the long way first of all. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strips, and then I cut the other way, so lengthways and then up and down.
So vertical first, horizontal
second. And then I took a Post-it note, because then on my vertical I would stack the bottom, then the next one, so I'd put them in a stack, and I put number 1 with my Post-it note on top, and clip it if you have Wonder Clips or whatever, so they don't move. And then I do number 2, same thing with the bottom one being like number 4, 3, 2, and 1, and clip it. And I would do the next row the same way. And I would keep them always clipped. So This is my stack, and I would always clip them because I didn't want to take them apart. And then, actually, when I had it all gridded out, take your camera or your phone and take a picture. And the reason why I want you to do that is because if you look at these two blocks, they're very similar. Because when I first sewed this together, I accidentally flipped the two blocks. Had it all made and sewn together, I'm going, oh yeah, that doesn't look right. But they're so close that you don't notice it until after you get it done. So take a picture so you have something to go back on if you need to. So then it comes to making your block. So I took regular fabric here because we have this really cute line in the store.
Market Fresh.
Yes, it's kind of cute. So this, without doing it all, this ends up being my totally finished block. And now I'll show you how to make it. So here's my sash of my window. Here's the upper bar of it. And then this will be my sashing going all the way around my windows. So there's 3 pieces that you're going to be sewing on here. So the first thing you do is you measure whatever your window is going to be. In this case, I made this 12 inches. So I have a 12-inch square. So since I have a 12-inch square, that means my bottom sash is going to be 12 inches also. So I cut off 2.5 inches by 12 inches and I sewed it on. So my very first piece will look like this. So far, simple enough, right? So that's the very first thing you sew on is your bottom sash of your window. Then you have to figure out, measure from this point to this point, whatever it's going to be. If it's 12, that means I'm probably at 14 inches. So that means I'm going to cut out this strip 14 inches to match that. And so once I do that, I am going to take my strip, which is clipped right here. See, Wonder Clips are so beautiful. I take that piece, which is 14 inches, and I cut a 2.5-inch square of my bottom sash. So one 2.5-inch square. Basically what I do is I lay that on my 14-inch strip, and if you have the beautiful diagonal tape that you know that I love on my machine, I lay this on here and I stitch that down. So it looks like this. Cut off your 1/4 inch, iron it down, and it fits right in here. And you just sew it on. So that is your wonderful way of making an attic window with not making this a Y seam. It is so, I would never make a attic window the old-fashioned way anymore, because if you look through mine, you can't really tell that I did it that way. It goes together so nice, and it's not aggravating at all. You just do it. So that's your second step. The third step is, of course, adding your sash. So this is your first one, adding the bottom. Second one is cutting my, whatever this distance is right here, another strip, and adding the bottom that matches the same width as my sash to that, and sewing that on. Once I have that done, all I have to do is I add a third. So this is what it's looking like to this point. That's what it looks like to this point. And then, don't you love how perfect that looks? Once you have it sewn, you can't even tell that's not a Y seam.
Oh, it's
so
really nice.
Doesn't it? It's just a perfect way of doing it. So this is going to be my basically my sashing going all the way around my quilt. So these are all 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches, whatever you deal with. And with this particular one, as I did with my attic window here, I made it 2 inches instead of the 2.5. The reason why I did that is I wanted it to be a little bit more three-dimensional look. I didn't want everything to be the same, because even your windows at home aren't always equal, all the way around. So I made this 2 inches. So I did the same thing with this. I just made it a 2-inch strip, and that's obviously the 14 inches here too. Because if it's 12 inches and I added 2.5 inches, by the time I got my seam allowance in here, I'm down to 14. So, or 14.25, depending on your particular seam allowance. So I sew that down. So this is my whole block. And I'm going to make like 9 of those because it'll make a cute little topper. And then I will do this to connect them all. I'll have this go across the top, which is what I have done on this particular one. It ran all the way across, so it actually frames in my whole window. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Super fun, super easy to make. It made me fall in love with attic windows again, because I was taught to make attic windows the old way with the Y seams, and it was never fun to do. It's kind of like doing, what am I doing? Your borders around a quilt.
Miter.
Thank you.
Miter borders,
The thing,
gross.
yeah, that bad,
Yeah.
almost like a bad word. Which, by the way, I got my quilt done with. You guys were wondering how my, you'll see that in a couple of days. It just went to Jan's table to quilt. So this is the easiest way to do the attic window. You can make any basically panel into an attic window that you can make it look like you're looking out a window. So that's where I said this one will be really, really cute, because you can see this going by a window.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do this one so you guys can see what this looks like in the very future. So the tools that you need to do this are quite simple. You need just a straight edge to get your cuts going through, so just your regular quilting ruler. You really need diagonal tape, which we have over. Can you grab it? Diagonal tape, this is just a godsend, because then you know exactly where everything goes as far as your 1/4 inch, and so that this comes out
Perfect.
just
square.
just
or triangle. Sorry.
just right here. This just comes out perfect. So that's what's cool about it. And then, because you end up doing a lot of chain piecing, this is priceless. I've showed you guys this before, and we sell so many of these at Gruber's. So you take your old rotary cutter blade that you're not going to use anymore because it's either chipped or dull or whatever it is that you've done to it, and you basically screw it into this little gizmo. It goes on here, and I can cut all my, I didn't have this at home today, and I did so much chain piecing, and I had to cut and going, I think I was mad at myself the whole time I was having to use the scissors. So you use it, and you can't cut yourself with this, and then when you're done, it's so great because you just stick it in here. So it's not in your way on the table. Sticks in here, close it up, and it's out of your way. We have just, everybody who travels just loves this thing. We've sold so many at the store. We have many, many, many colors to choose from.
They're all $18.
And by the way, you're seeing Maureen. She's here with me tonight. I'm so grateful.
Hello, everyone.
So those are just seriously priceless. It's one of
Yes.
those smart tools.
A good notion to invest in.
Oh man, I was scolding myself all day today because I had left mine at the shop and I was doing so much chain piecing at home today. It's like, oh darn me. So that one thing is because, you know, chain piecing I love to do, as I've told you guys before, my blocks, I will sew them together one way so it's half done, so I have some that are left here. But if I'm doing a whole bunch of those, just chain piecing them is so easy to come back and just clip them off if I need to. But this is what gives me my whole look of my block, and all I have to do is press it. And so I know what my block already looks like. And then I could go back and just put it together. So it's my favorite way of doing quilts too, because then I know what it's looking like before it's even finished. But yeah, chain piecing, price tool to have. You will absolutely enjoy this in your Notions box.
And it's a good way to use your old blade.
Yeah,
You always
absolutely.
wonder what to do with it, so
Yes, you do, because
it's one way.
yeah, because they all do get dull, which is really good because you know you're using it. It's one thing if it gets dull. It's another thing if you go over a pin.
Pin.
That just makes you mad.
Yeah.
Because you did it. So Maureen found some really pretty different panels here that would look really gorgeous as if you pretend you were going through a window.
So
The witch.
this one. Do you want to hold it up?
Yep, I will gladly. So we have the attic window witch. And like I said, all you have to do is follow us on Facebook. Do you want me to move a little bit? That would probably be helpful.
Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. I want you to just lay backwards. Keep bending. The attic window, which is $46.99. There, it's a picture of me. I'm a cheerleader for the Minnesota Twins. They need all the help they can get. Did you know that they're in last place?
Oh man, they're not doing
Dang.
too hot.
They're not
I have
doing
not been able to follow them that close this
me
year.
either, but I just happen to have had a lot of radio time today. It's like last place, seriously.
Oh man.
You never know. Everybody, well, we all have to be somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So
kit.
This is a huge one. This is a kit to do this because it takes 3/4 of a yard of the 3, for sure the 2. So the 2 blacks, oh, you can't see it. So the orange, which is a sash, you only need probably a 1/2 yard of that. And we'll show you that in a little while too. You need 3/4 of a yard of 2 blacks. And then you need about 1/2 yard for binding. So that is super easy. You don't need very much at all. So depending which panel you use, this happens to be a really large panel. So it's 3/4, 3/4, 1/2 yard. And if you're at all, just say 3/4, 3/4, 3/4. And then if you're going to do binding or add a border around it, just add another 3/4. And you're pretty well saved to go all the way around it. But otherwise, a lot of the panels that we're showing you right now.
That's just the panel, the Halloween panel.
The panel, $17.49, and that's because I believe it's also digital. That's why you're seeing so much detail in all the orange.
It's a little bit over a yard.
Yep, a little bit over. We have a lot of different ones that we're showing you tonight. So some of them are smaller, so they will not take as much yardage. The tree one, which, or the truck, is only $8.99. It'll be a small attic window, which is really cute, and there's 6 more blocks to build something else fun with. Because they're all just really, they are very pretty, very nice. Yep, it's well, yeah, it just speaks that, doesn't it? And then if you want to go to the beautiful blue jays, they are such a pretty bird though. I mean, I know they're naughty birds, but oh man, the blue in them lets them get by with whatever. Once again, these are Hoffman and they're all digital because that's how Hoffman plays. Then they came with the beautiful deer, and everybody has loved this particular one. And it's $13.99. So it's a wild deer and it has a beautiful, I don't know what everybody's done a lot of different things with this panel because it speaks volumes within the deer itself. It's just a very, very pretty, pretty panel. And then one that I think would be a gorgeous attic window is this one. Because you can cut it up however you want. You're not bumping into anything. And it would be just really, really, really beautiful. First of all, who doesn't love the Northern Lights? So it's a wild panel, aurora, and it would just, this you could have up from starting September all the way to May.
Where do they buy these panels?
You can go on grubersquiltshop.com, and most of this stuff you'll find on Sue's Facebook faves tonight. So it's an easy way to find it. Otherwise, if you type in panels too, you get to look at a lot of other panels at Gruber's too. We have a lot of panels because a lot of you guys are finding out how fun panels are to play with, and a lot of I think we have now 55 different panel patterns. So, and for even Quilt, Minnesota, we've done some really pretty things with panels there. So you guys type in Quilt, Minnesota and see what we've done. We are I'm pretty proud of what you guys have all done. It's very
kits in the making.
Very, very pretty. So here's the attic window with witch. So pretty simple. And like I said, you can always go back on this Facebook posting to follow through what I kind of did. So just 1/2 yard, just a 1/2 inch strip, a 2.5 inch strip, 2.5 inch strip. And you can, there's enough fabric in here to do a wider if you want to just say everything 2.5 inch. But I just dropped this to 2 inch because I like the different look of it so it's not all the same. It gave it a little bit different look. And it's really cool how the witch kind of broke up in here. Because in this case, and that's what you need to look at on whenever you do an attic window, make sure you're not cutting a head up.
Or animals.
Or animal. Yeah, you don't want to ever cut a deer right in the middle of its head. Because he's kind of the focus point.
So it's important to map it out first.
Map it out. Yep, take your friction pen or your chalk pencil. White chalk pencils are perfect for this. They help you do that. The scene one is beautiful too. It's going to give you a long attic window. So maybe you don't want to use the whole thing. You know, decide what you want to do on that. That one's only $7.99, super great price, but it's a nice way to begin an attic window with if you've never played with one, to try and see how you like it. So for the Aurora one, I think it's just gorgeous. Be a beautiful attic window. Then we have the Wild Dove panel. Oh my gosh, this is just very, very, very well done, very pretty, very iconic, literally. There's nothing better than 2 wild doves, so they did a very good job on this one. that would be a beautiful attic window too, because I would do it in blacks and maybe real deep gray. Yeah, deep gray or something. It would be very gorgeous. Because that if you saw that outside your window, you would be wow. And that's it's kind of what you want from people when you do something, is a wow. And that one, in all of its simplicity, would bring the wow factor. You could even do it in deep browns too. That would look good. Well, that's the most important thing about attic windows, is what are you going to frame what's your window panes going to be to show it off. And the Mountain Vista panel, another really pretty one, because doesn't everybody want that look outside their window? The only thing missing is water. So Minnesota girls need water. Again, it's only $8.99, so the prices are very reasonable in these. The Aurora one, we've had a lot of people do this in One Block Wonders, and $8.99. This is another gorgeous thing that you want to have outside your window. It's very pretty. So this would be really interesting to what kind of window would you make with this? Because you'd lose it if you did the black. So I think this is where you'd come into your either charcoal gray to white or browns. What would you do, Maureen?
For the window part?
For the window part. Because you've got so much
I maybe would put like a hint of gray, a gray piece in there to make it three-dimensional.
Yep.
A deep navy.
It'd be really pretty. Yeah. It would be a gorgeous attic
Someone
window.
asked, is a sunset light panel a panel or yardage? All these are panels, so we cut them all apart. So there's no yardage that you can get on these. Right,
and we only have 6 of these left. The tree farm, and this would be another really pretty one. And this is what most people will look at a farmhouse anyway. So, and there again, you be careful how you cut up your truck. Even though most of it will cut easily, but it's not like a person. But that would be definitely your focus point. So think about that. So once again, all you have to do is, first of all, chalk it out. Take white chalk pencil and do that first of all. Cut it elongated first, up and down.
Vertical?
Yep, vertical, so heads to feet, and then you do the arms. So grid it out, cut it out.
Mark
it. Layer bottom one first. So 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's going to be number 1. So clip it number 1 with your Post-it note and your Wonder Clip. Go to number 2 and do the same. Go to number 3, do the same, and then number 4, do the same. And I really try to keep mine clipped. So I will sew them and I keep them clipped as I do that, because it's so easy to get them off. So once you do all that and do the bottom sash first, measure it, make that times whatever whatever, if it's 2.5 inch strip, you need to do a 2.5 inch block to put it on the bottom of the bar going up and down. Sew that on, and then that becomes super easy, your block. And then you just finish it with your sash. And you end up with your block looking like this. So this is your entire block.
So you always have your sashing to the right?
Yep.
So your window pane to the left, and to the bottom first.
This is your first thing to sew on. So number one is this. Super easy. Whatever the size of your block is, that's what your sash is on the bottom. Measure that when you're done. Whatever that measurement is, that becomes my purple. And then I will take whatever this is, make that a square and put it in the corner and do a vertical or a diagonal stitching down the middle, just like
a half square triangle.
Yep. And flip it out, and you end up getting this. And then I'm just adding my sashing that goes all the way around. So this is what you get when I added this. And then I add my sashing that's going to go, first of all, vertical, and then the horizontal line that puts it all together. And you have an attic window. It goes that quickly. So that's how you make an attic window. Any questions? You know that I'm at Gruber's. Give a call, message us, try making one. You'll enjoy it. It's not that hard to do, and it looks very, very pretty. So have fun with that. If you have any questions, thanks for joining us tonight on Monday. We'll see you on Wednesday evening.